We moved to the city and forgot our beach house. My wife went there for maintenance every 3 months. When she passed, I decided to sell it before it collapsed. The realtor wouldn't even get out of the car, the facade was so ugly. But when I pushed open the rotten door, I saw new toys on the floor and a child ran to me. What she said left me speechless. "I'm glad to have you here. Follow my story until the end and comment the city you're watching from so I can see how far my story has reached." I never thought I would be standing here, staring at what used to be our dream beach house, watching paint peel off the walls like old skin. 6 months have passed since Cynthia died, and I still catch myself reaching for the phone to call her, still turn my head when I hear her favorite song on the radio. The grief hits you in waves, they say, and today it feels like I'm drowning. The realtor, a young woman named Jessica with perfectly styled blonde hair and a nervous smile, pulls up in her pristine white BMW. She takes one look at the house through her windshield and I can see her face change. The confident expression she wore when we met at her office 20 minutes ago has been replaced by something between horror and disbelief. She rolls down her window just enough to speak. "Mr. Henderson, are you absolutely certain this property is structurally sound?" I can't blame her for asking. The house looks like something from a horror movie. The once cheerful yellow paint has faded to a sickly gray with long streaks of rust running down from the gutters like tears. The front porch sags in the middle and several of the wooden railings hang at odd angles. Weeds have grown so high around the foundation that they're practically climbing the walls. "It wasn't always like this," I tell her, though my voice lacks conviction. "My wife used to come here for maintenance every 3 months. She said she was keeping it in good condition." Jessica nods politely, but I can see the skepticism in her eyes. She's probably wondering how any amount of quarterly maintenance could prevent this level of decay. Hell, I'm wondering the same thing. When did our beautiful weekend retreat turn into this abandoned shell? I remember the day we bought this place 32 years ago. Cynthia was 35 then and I was 37. We'd been married for 8 years and had finally saved enough money for our dream. A small beach house, where we could escape the city noise and watch the sunset over the water. It cost us $43,000, which felt like a fortune at the time. Cynthia fell in love with it immediately. She loved the way the morning light streamed through the kitchen windows, loved the sound of waves that lulled us to sleep. Every weekend for years we would drive the 2 hours from the city, pack our small sedan with groceries and books, and pretend we were living a simpler life. But that was before James died, before everything changed. Our son was 23 when the accident happened. A drunk driver ran a red light and hit his motorcycle on a rainy Tuesday evening. After that, nothing was ever the same. Cynthia stopped laughing. I stopped sleeping. We both stopped coming to the beach house because every sunset reminded us of the ones James had watched with us. Every room echoed with his voice. That was 10 years ago. Since then, Cynthia insisted on making these solo trips every few months. She said someone needed to check on the place, make sure the pipes weren't frozen, ensure no one had broken in. It seemed reasonable, responsible even. I was grateful she was taking care of it because I couldn't bear to set foot in the place where we'd been happy. "I'll wait in the car while you do your initial assessment," Jessica says, interrupting my thoughts. "Just be careful in there." I nod and walk toward the front door, my footsteps echoing hollowly on the rotting porch boards. The door itself is barely hanging on its hinges. The wood around the lock is so swollen and warped that I have to put my shoulder against it and push hard to get it open. The smell hits me first. It's not the musty odor I expected from a house that's been closed up for months. It's something else entirely. Something that makes me stop dead in the doorway. It smells like vanilla and strawberries, like the bubble bath Cynthia used to buy for herself when she was feeling stressed. Like home. I step inside, my heart pounding for reasons I can't explain. The living room is dark, with heavy curtains drawn across the windows, but there's enough light filtering through to see the basic shapes of furniture. Everything looks normal at first glance. Our old couch, the coffee table where Cynthia used to leave her romance novels, the brick fireplace where we'd burn driftwood on cold evenings. But then I notice something that makes my breath catch in my throat. There are toys scattered across the floor. Not old toys that might have belonged to James when he was little. These are new. Bright plastic dolls with shiny hair, colorful building blocks that still have their packaging, a small pink bicycle that couldn't be more than a few months old. The toys are arranged as if someone had been playing with them recently, then simply walked away. My hands are shaking as I push the curtains aside to let in more light. The room comes into focus, and I see more things that don't belong. Children's books stacked on the side table, a small purple jacket hanging on the coat hook by the door, a bowl with cartoon characters on it sitting on the kitchen counter. What the hell? I whisper to myself. That's when I hear it. Footsteps above my head. Light, quick footsteps running across the upstairs floor. My first instinct is panic. Someone has broken into the house. Squatters, maybe, or kids using it as a hideout. I should call the police. I should get out of here and call Jessica to drive away. But something keeps me frozen in place. The footsteps don't sound like an adult trying to hide. They sound like a child playing. The steps move toward the staircase. Then I hear the creaking of someone coming down the wooden stairs. I back toward the door, my pulse hammering in my ears, ready to run if I need to. A small figure appears at the bottom of the stairs. It's a little girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, with curly brown hair and enormous green eyes. She's wearing a yellow sundress that looks too big for her tiny frame, and she's holding a stuffed elephant that's clearly been well loved. For a moment, we just stare at each other. She doesn't look scared. If anything, she looks relieved. Then she drops the elephant and runs straight toward me, her little arms outstretched. "Grandpa," she cries, launching herself at my legs with such force that I almost fall backward. "Grandpa, you came. Grandma Cynthia said you would come, but it's been so long and I was starting to get scared." I stand there completely frozen, this tiny stranger clinging to my legs, calling me Grandpa, talking about Cynthia as if she knew her, as if she'd been expecting me. The little girl pulls back and looks up at me with those enormous green eyes, and that's when I see something that makes my knees nearly buckle. She has James's eyes. Exactly James's eyes. "Grandma Cynthia told me all about you," she says, her voice bright and confident despite everything. "She said you were very sad because Uncle James went to heaven, but that you would come take care of me when she went to heaven too." The words hit me like a physical blow. I sink down to my knees so that I'm at her eye level, trying to make sense of what she's saying. "Who are you?" I manage to ask. She tilts her head like the question is silly. "I'm Emma. I'm your granddaughter." The word hangs in the air between us like a question mark. Granddaughter. I stare at this little girl who speaks with such certainty as if she's been waiting her entire life to tell me who she is. "Emma," I repeat slowly, testing the name. It feels foreign on my tongue, yet somehow familiar. "Emma, sweetheart, I think there's been some kind of mistake." She shakes her head vigorously, her curls bouncing. "No mistake, Grandpa. Grandma Cynthia showed me pictures of you. She said you have kind eyes and that you always smell like coffee and newspapers." She reaches up and touches my cheek with her small hand. "You do smell like coffee." My heart is racing so fast I'm afraid it might burst. This child, this beautiful little girl with my dead son's eyes, is talking about my wife, like they were best friends, like they spent time together, like Cynthia had been keeping the most enormous secret imaginable. "Emma, where are your parents?" I ask, trying to keep my voice gentle even though everything inside me is screaming. Her face falls slightly. "Mama went away when I was little. Grandma Cynthia said she was sick in her heart and couldn't take care of me anymore. And Daddy—" She pauses, looking down at her hands. "Grandma said Daddy was Uncle James and he went to heaven before I was born." The room spins around me. I have to grip the edge of the coffee table to keep from falling over. James. She's saying James was her father. My son, who died 10 years ago, apparently had a child I never knew about. "Show me," I whisper. "Show me the pictures." Emma's face lights up immediately. She grabs my hand with both of hers and starts pulling me toward the stairs. "Come see my room. Grandma Cynthia made it so pretty for me." I follow her upstairs on unsteady legs, my mind reeling with questions. The hallway looks exactly as I remember it, But Emma leads me to what used to be the guest bedroom. She pushes open the door, and I have to grab the door frame to steady myself. The room has been completely transformed. The walls are painted a soft lavender with white clouds stenciled across the ceiling. There's a small bed with a purple comforter covered in butterflies, a white dresser topped with picture frames, and shelves lined with children's books and toys. Everything is clean, organized, clearly loved. But it's the pictures that make me sink onto the edge of the bed, my legs unable to support me anymore. There are dozens of them. Photos of Cynthia and Emma at the beach, building sandcastles and collecting shells. Pictures of them in the kitchen, covered in flour while baking cookies. Images of Cynthia reading to Emma in the big chair by the window, both of them laughing at something in the book. And then I see the one that breaks my heart completely. It's a photo of James, the same one we kept on our mantel at home, but it's been carefully placed in a small frame next to Emma's bed. Below it, in Cynthia's handwriting, are the words, "Your daddy, who loved you very much." Grandma Cynthia told me stories about him, Emma says softly, climbing up on the bed beside me. She said he was brave and funny and that he would have been the best daddy in the whole world. I pick up another photo from the nightstand. It shows Cynthia and Emma at what looks like a birthday party, with balloons and a cake shaped like a princess castle. Emma is wearing a paper crown and grinning at the camera, chocolate frosting smeared across her cheek. "When was this taken?" I ask. "My last birthday. I turned 8. Grandma made the cake herself, even though she was getting really tired all the time." 8 years old. This child is 8 years old, which means she was born the year after James died. The timeline doesn't make sense unless... "Emma," I say carefully, "how long have you been living here?" "Since I was 6, she says matter-of-factly. "Before that, I lived with Mama, but she got sicker and sicker until she couldn't remember to feed me or give me baths. Grandma Cynthia came and got me and brought me here, and she said this would be my forever home." 2 years. My wife had been caring for this child in our beach house for 2 years, making those quarterly maintenance trips to visit her granddaughter. While I was grieving our son, Cynthia was raising his daughter in secret. I walk over to the dresser and pick up more photographs. In every single one, Cynthia looks happy. Not the broken, hollow version of herself that she'd become after James died, but the vibrant woman I'd fallen in love with all those years ago. Her smile is genuine, her eyes bright with purpose. "She loved you very much," I say to Emma, though it comes out as barely a whisper. "I know." Emma crawls across the bed and settles herself next to me, leaning against my arm like it's the most natural thing in the world. "She loved you too. She talked about you all the time. She said you were sad because you missed Uncle James so much, and that made you not want to come to the beach anymore." I feel tears building behind my eyes. She was right. "But she said someday you would be ready to be my grandpa, and when that day came you would love me just as much as you loved Uncle James." The tears spill over then, running down my cheeks without permission. This little girl, this beautiful, innocent child who should have been part of our family from the beginning, had been living here alone with Cynthia while I wallowed in my grief. Emma reaches up and wipes my tears away with her small fingers. "Don't be sad, Grandpa. Grandma said crying is okay when you miss someone, but you shouldn't be sad about me being here. She said I was a gift that Uncle James left for us to find when we were ready." I pull her into my arms then, this grandchild I never knew existed, and hold her tight against my chest. She smells like strawberry shampoo and sunshine, and when she wraps her little arms around my neck, something inside my chest that has been frozen solid for 10 years finally begins to thaw. "Where is Grandma Cynthia now?" Emma asks quietly. "She went to sleep one morning and wouldn't wake up, and I've been waiting and waiting for her to come back, but she hasn't." The question I've been dreading: how do you explain death to a child who has already lost so much? "Emma, sweetie," I begin, but she interrupts me. "She's in heaven with Uncle James, isn't she?" I nod, unable to speak. "I figured," she says with a matter-of-factness that breaks my heart. She was getting more tired every day, and sometimes she would touch her chest and make faces like something hurt. But she said not to worry because you would come take care of me just like she promised. I hold her tighter, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what Cynthia had done. She had hidden this child, this miracle, to protect us both. To protect Emma from my grief and me from feeling obligated to care for a child when I could barely take care of myself. But there's something else nagging at me, something that doesn't quite fit. Emma, I say slowly, how long has it been since Grandma Cynthia went to heaven? She thinks for a moment, counting on her fingers. A really long time. I watched the sun go up and down lots and lots of times. I ran out of the food in the refrigerator, but I found more food in the cabinets. And I was starting to get really scared because what if you forgot to come? My blood runs cold. How have you been taking care of yourself? I know how to make sandwiches and pour cereal, she says proudly. And Grandma taught me how to brush my teeth and wash my face and everything. This 8-year-old child has been living alone in this house for weeks, maybe longer, surviving on whatever food she could find, waiting for a grandfather she'd never met to come save her. The weight of that responsibility, of her faith in me, settles on my shoulders like lead. But there's something else bothering me, something that makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Emma, I say as gently as I can, have there been any other people here? Anyone besides you and Grandma Cynthia? Her face immediately changes, the brightness fading from her eyes. She looks down at her hands and starts picking at the edge of her dress. Sometimes, she says quietly, sometimes bad men come looking for me. The words hit me like ice water. Bad men. This innocent child who has been alone for God knows how long has been dealing with people who frighten her. My protective instincts, dormant for so long, roar to life. What bad men, Emma? I ask, trying to keep my voice calm even though my heart is pounding. Can you tell me about them? She scoots closer to me on the bed, seeking comfort. They come sometimes at night. They knock really loud and yell about wanting to see me. But Grandma Cynthia taught me to hide in the secret place when they come. The secret place? Emma slides off the bed and walks to what I thought was just a decorative bookshelf against the far wall. She pushes on one of the shelves, and to my amazement, the entire section swings inward like a door. Behind it is a small space, just big enough for a child to curl up in, with blankets, water bottles, and crackers stored inside. Grandma made this for me, she says proudly. She said if anyone ever came looking for me and she wasn't here, I should hide until they go away. I've been hiding a lot since she went to heaven. The thought of this little girl, terrified and alone, cramped in that tiny space while strangers pound on the door, makes my stomach clench with rage. What kind of situation had Cynthia gotten herself into? What kind of danger had she been protecting Emma from? Emma? Did Grandma Cynthia ever tell you why these men were looking for you? She shrugs, closing the hidden panel. She said my mama owed them money and they thought they could get it from me. But that's silly because I don't have any money, just my piggy bank with $7.34. A cold dread is building in my chest. I'm starting to piece together a picture that I don't like at all. Emma's mother was sick, possibly addicted to drugs based on what Emma described. If she owed money to the wrong kind of people, they might see a child as leverage. Can you show me more of Grandma Cynthia's things? I ask. Maybe she left some papers or letters that could help me understand. Emma nods enthusiastically and leads me to Cynthia's room, our old bedroom. Like Emma's room, it's been transformed, but this transformation breaks my heart in a different way. The bed we used to share has been replaced with a single twin bed. The dresser that used to hold both our clothes now contains only Cynthia's things, and they're arranged with the careful precision of someone who knows she might not have much time left. On the nightstand, there's a thick manila envelope with my name written on it in Cynthia's careful handwriting. My hands shake as I pick it up. She said to give this to you when you came, Emma says softly. She said it would help you understand everything. I sit on the edge of the bed and open the envelope. Inside are legal documents, photographs, and several letters. The first thing I pull out is a birth certificate. Emma Rose Henderson. born March 15, 2014. Father, James Michael Henderson. Mother, Sarah Elizabeth Crane. My breath catches in my throat. It's real. Emma really is James's daughter, which makes her my granddaughter. My son had a child, and I never knew. The next document is even more shocking. It's a handwritten letter from someone named Sarah Crane, dated 3 years ago. Cynthia, I can't do this anymore. The drugs are stronger than I am, and I know I'm going to die soon. Emma deserves better than what I can give her. I know this is a lot to ask, but she's James's daughter, and you're the only family she has left. Please take care of her. Please don't let her end up in the system, and please don't let Tommy and his friends find her. They'll use her to get to me, and I can't let that happen. I know I'm asking you to keep secrets, but sometimes secrets are the only way to protect the people we love. I have to read it twice before the words sink in. Sarah, Emma's mother, had given her to Cynthia 3 years ago. Not 2 years like Emma said, but 3, which means Emma was only 5 years old when her mother abandoned her. The next letter is from Cynthia, and it's addressed to me. My dearest Marvin, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone and you found Emma. I know you're probably angry with me for keeping this secret, and I know you're probably hurt that I didn't trust you enough to tell you the truth. The truth is, I was protecting you both. When Sarah came to me with Emma, you were still so broken from losing James. I was afraid that seeing his daughter would either destroy you completely or make you feel obligated to take on a responsibility you weren't ready for. So I decided to give Emma a safe, loving home while giving you time to heal. I never meant for it to go on this long, but then I got sick and I ran out of time to figure out how to tell you. My eyes blur with tears as I continue reading. Emma is the most beautiful, intelligent, loving child you could ever imagine. She has James's eyes and his gentle spirit, but she also has a strength that I think comes from surviving so much at such a young age. She's been through things no child should have to experience, but she still believes in goodness and love and family. She believes in you, even though she's never met you. I've told her so many stories about her grandfather who builds things and fixes things and makes everything better. I've promised her that when I'm gone, you'll take care of her, and she believes that promise with her whole heart. I have to stop reading for a moment to wipe my eyes. Beside me, Emma is looking through a photo album, pointing out pictures of herself with Cynthia. Look, this is when we went to the lighthouse, she says, showing me a picture of the two of them standing in front of the old lighthouse about 5 miles down the coast. And this is when I lost my first tooth, and the tooth fairy brought me $2 whole. I look at the pictures she's showing me, and in every single one, both Emma and Cynthia look genuinely happy. There's love in these photographs, real love, the kind that can't be faked. I pick up the letter again. I know this is a lot to ask, especially when I waited too long to ask it properly. But Emma needs a family, Marvin. She needs someone who will love her unconditionally and protect her from the people who want to use her. Sarah's ex-boyfriend Tommy and his friends have been looking for Emma ever since Sarah died 6 months ago. They think she knows where Sarah hid money or drugs, but she's just a little girl who doesn't know anything about her mother's mistakes. I've been keeping her safe here, but I won't be able to do it much longer. 6 months. Sarah died 6 months ago, which means she died right around the time Cynthia did. No wonder Emma has been alone. She lost both of the adults who were caring for her within a short period of time. There are more papers in the envelope, Cynthia's letter continues. Sarah signed temporary guardianship papers before she died, and I've been working with a lawyer to make the situation legal. Emma's birth certificate lists James as her father, and DNA tests confirm it. She is your granddaughter, Marvin, and she is the most precious gift we never knew we had. Please don't let my mistakes or my secrets keep you from loving her. She's waited her whole life to meet her grandfather, and I believe with all my heart that you two are exactly what each other needs. I pull out the last document in the envelope, and my hands start shaking again. It's a legal document stating that in the event of Cynthia's death, guardianship of Emma Rose Henderson should transfer to me, Marvin James Henderson, as her biological grandfather. It's been notarized and signed by witnesses. "Grandpa, are you okay?" Emma asks, noticing my tears. I pull her close to me, this beautiful child who has been through so much but still radiates hope and love. "I'm okay, sweetheart. I'm just sad that Grandma Cynthia couldn't tell me about you herself." "She wanted to," Emma says matter-of-factly. "She said she was going to bring me to meet you lots of times, but then she would get scared and change her mind. She said grown-ups sometimes make things more complicated than they need to be." Out of the mouths of babes. I'm about to ask Emma more about these men who have been looking for her when I hear something that makes my blood run cold. The sound of car doors slamming outside, followed by heavy footsteps on the front porch. Emma hears it too, and her face immediately goes pale. "The bad men," she whispers. "They're back." Before I can react, she's already moving, grabbing a small backpack from under the bed and heading for her hiding place. But I catch her arm gently. "Not this time, sweetheart," I say, surprised by the steadiness in my own voice. "This time, Grandpa is here." The pounding on the front door starts, along with voices shouting demands to open up. But for the first time in 10 years, I'm not afraid. I'm not broken. I have something to protect, someone who needs me, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let anyone hurt my granddaughter. I pull out my cell phone and dial 911, then I pick up Emma and hold her tight. "What are we going to do?" she whispers against my shoulder. "We're going to fight back," I tell her, "and we're going to win." But as the pounding gets louder and the voices get angrier, I realize that this is just the beginning. These people aren't going to give up easily, and I'm going to have to figure out how to protect Emma not just today, but for the rest of her life. The secret Cynthia died keeping has become my responsibility now, and I'm not going to let her down. The police arrive within 12 minutes, but it feels like an eternity. I hold Emma in my arms, while we listen to the men outside growing increasingly agitated, their voices getting louder and more threatening. Through the bedroom window, I can see two of them. Rough-looking men in their 30s, one with a shaved head and tattoos covering his arms, the other wearing a dirty baseball cap and a shirt that's seen better days. "Open up!" the bald one shouts, hammering on the door so hard I'm afraid it might splinter. "We know she's in there. We just want to talk." Emma buries her face against my shoulder, her small body trembling. "They've been coming for weeks, Grandpa," she whispers. "Ever since Grandma Cynthia went to heaven. They keep saying I know where Mama hid something, but I don't know anything." The sound of sirens in the distance makes me exhale in relief. The men outside must hear them too, because their pounding stops abruptly. I peek through the curtain and see them having a hurried conversation before jogging back to a beat-up blue pickup truck parked at the edge of the property. "Police!" a voice calls from downstairs. "Anyone home?" I carry Emma down to meet two officers, a middle-aged man with graying hair and a younger woman who looks like she's probably dealt with situations like this before. "I'm Officer Rodriguez," the woman says, "and this is Officer Thompson. We got a call about a disturbance." I explain the situation as quickly as I can. The men harassing my granddaughter, the fact that she's been living here alone, the documents proving my legal guardianship. I show them Cynthia's letter and the legal papers while Emma stays pressed close to my side. Officer Thompson takes notes while Officer Rodriguez examines the documents. "Mr. Henderson," she says carefully, "this is quite a complex situation. The guardianship papers appear to be in order, but we're going to need to involve Child Protective Services to ensure Emma's safety and verify these arrangements." My heart sinks. The last thing Emma needs is to be pulled away from the only stability she has left. "How long would that take?" "Could be a few days to a week," Officer Rodriguez says, not unkindly. "In the meantime, we can arrange for temporary emergency custody or—" "No." The word comes out sharper than I intended. "She's staying with me." Officer Thompson looks up from his notes. "Sir, we understand this is difficult, but there are procedures we have to follow. The child's safety is our primary concern." "My safety?" Emma speaks up for the first time, her voice small but clear. "I'm safe with Grandpa. I've been waiting for him. Grandma Cynthia said he would take care of me." Something in her voice, the absolute trust and certainty, seems to affect the officers. Officer Rodriguez kneels down to Emma's level. "Emma, can you tell me about the men who were here? Have they ever hurt you or threatened you?" Emma shakes her head. "They just knock really loud and yell. Grandma Cynthia said they were looking for something that belonged to my mama, but I don't have anything that was hers except some pictures. Officer Thompson closes his notepad. Mr. Henderson, we're going to file a report about the harassment and we'll increase patrols in this area. But regarding custody arrangements, he exchanges a glance with his partner. Given the legal documents you've shown us and the fact that the child appears well cared for and specifically wants to remain with you, we may be able to expedite the process. Relief floods through me. Thank you. After the officers leave, promising to return the next day with someone from Child Services, Emma and I are finally alone. The house feels different now, not like an abandoned relic of the past, but like a home that needs protecting. Are you hungry? I ask Emma, realizing I haven't seen her eat anything since I arrived. She nods enthusiastically. I ate the last of the cereal yesterday morning. I was starting to wonder if I should try to walk to the store, but Grandma said I should never leave the house by myself. My heart clenches at the thought of this 8-year-old child rationing food, wondering if she should venture out alone to find more. Let's see what we can make for dinner. The kitchen tells its own story. The refrigerator is nearly empty except for some expired milk and wilted vegetables. The pantry has been methodically depleted. Emma has been eating whatever she could reach and prepare herself. Crackers, canned fruit, peanut butter eaten straight from the jar. I know how to make sandwiches, Emma offers helpfully. Grandma taught me, and I can pour milk without spilling hardly any. You've been taking very good care of yourself, I tell her, and I mean it. This child has shown more resilience and resourcefulness than many adults I know. But how about we go to the store and get some real groceries? We can make a proper dinner together. Emma's face lights up. Can we get ice cream? Grandma said ice cream was for special occasions, and I think you being here is very special. 20 minutes later, we're walking through the small grocery store in town, Emma riding in the shopping cart despite being almost too big for it, pointing out everything she wants to try. It's been so long since I've shopped for a child that I'd forgotten how everything looks exciting to them. Can we get the cookies that look like animals? She asks, pointing to a package of animal crackers. And what about those frozen pizzas? Grandma never let me have those because she said they weren't healthy, but maybe just once. I find myself saying yes to almost everything she asks for. After what this child has been through, a few unhealthy meals seem like the least of my concerns. We fill the cart with kid-friendly food, fresh fruits and vegetables, and yes, a half-gallon of chocolate ice cream. At the checkout counter, the teenage cashier smiles at Emma. Is this your granddaughter? She asks me. Yes, I say, and the word feels both strange and completely natural. This is Emma. She's beautiful, the cashier says. You two look like you're having fun. Driving back to the house, Emma chatters nonstop about all the meals we can make together, all the things she wants to show me, all the places around the property that she and Cynthia used to explore. For the first time since I walked into that house this morning, I feel something like hope. But as we pull into the driveway, I see something that makes that hope falter. There's a car parked across the street that wasn't there before. A black sedan with tinted windows, and I can see the silhouette of someone sitting in the driver's seat. Emma notices it too. That's not the same car the bad men had, she says quietly, but it might be their friends. I park in the driveway and sit for a moment, trying to decide what to do. Taking Emma into the house feels dangerous, but sitting here in the car feels like we're trapped. That's when my phone rings. Unknown number. I hesitate, then answer. Hello? Mr. Henderson. The voice is male, deep, with an edge that makes my skin crawl. We need to talk. Who is this? Someone who knew Sarah Crane very well. Someone who knows what she left behind. I look at Emma, who's watching me with wide, frightened eyes. I don't know what you're talking about. The man laughs, a sound completely without humor. That little girl sitting next to you knows exactly what I'm talking about. Sarah hid something before she died, something that belongs to me. The kid knows where it is. She's 8 years old. She doesn't know anything. Maybe not consciously, the voice continues. But Sarah was smart. She would have hidden clues somewhere the kid could find them when she was older, a favorite toy maybe, or something she thought was just a keepsake. I feel cold all over. What do you want? I want you to bring the kid to the lighthouse tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Come alone and bring anything that belonged to Sarah. Toys, pictures, clothes, doesn't matter what. We'll sort through it all and find what we need. And if I don't? The silence stretches for a long moment. Mr. Henderson, you seem like a nice man. You just found out you have a granddaughter, and I'm sure you want to keep her safe. The best way to do that is to cooperate. Because if you don't, we'll keep coming back. We'll keep looking, and eventually we'll find what we want anyway. But by then, you might not have a granddaughter anymore. The line goes dead. I sit there staring at my phone, my hands shaking with rage. Emma reaches over and touches my arm. Grandpa? Was that the bad men? I look at her sweet face, this innocent child who has already lost so much, and I make a decision that surprises me with its certainty. Yes, sweetheart, but don't worry. I start the car and begin backing out of the driveway. We're not going home right now. We're going somewhere safe where we can figure out how to stop them for good. Where are we going? I think about the legal documents in my pocket, about Officer Rodriguez's promise to help expedite the custody process, about the family lawyer whose number is probably still in my contact list. We're going to fight back, I tell her. Your Grandma Cynthia protected you as long as she could, and now it's my turn. But as we drive away, I catch sight of the black sedan pulling away from the curb behind us, and I realize that tomorrow night's confrontation at the lighthouse might be inevitable. The question is, will I be going there to surrender or to end this once and for all? I drive straight to the police station, my mind racing with possibilities. Emma sits quietly beside me, her small hands folded in her lap, trustingly letting me handle a situation that's far beyond anything a child should have to deal with. Officer Rodriguez is just ending her shift when we walk in, but she takes one look at my face and immediately leads us to a small conference room. They called you, didn't they? She says before I even speak. I nod and tell her about the phone call, the demands, the threat for tomorrow night. As I talk, she takes notes, her expression growing more serious. Mr. Henderson, these men aren't going to stop until they get what they want. The problem is, we don't know what that is, or if it even exists. Emma, Officer Rodriguez says gently, can you think of anything your mama might have given you? Anything special that she said to keep safe? Emma shakes her head. I don't remember my mama very much. I was really little when she went away. Grandma Cynthia said Mama was sick and couldn't take care of me anymore. What about things from when you lived with your mama? Toys, books, anything like that? I only brought one thing when I came to live with Grandma, Emma says softly. My elephant. Mama gave him to me when I was little and said he would always protect me. My blood runs cold. The stuffed elephant, the one Emma was holding when I first saw her, the one she dropped to run to me. Where is your elephant now, sweetheart? Upstairs in my room. Why? Officer Rodriguez and I exchange glances. Emma, would it be okay if we looked at your elephant, just to make sure there's nothing hidden inside it? Emma's eyes widen. You think Mama hid something in Mr. Peanut's? We don't know, I tell her honestly, but it's possible. An hour later, we're back at the house with Officer Rodriguez and a child services worker named Mrs. Chen, who turned out to be much more understanding than I expected. After reviewing the legal documents and seeing how clearly attached Emma is to me, she agreed to expedite the custody process, especially given the immediate danger Emma is facing. Emma retrieves Mr. Peanuts from her room, holding the well-worn gray elephant protectively. He's not going to get hurt, is he? We'll be very careful, Officer Rodriguez promises, accepting the stuffed animal. We just need to check if there's anything unusual about him. She examines the elephant carefully, running her hands along the seams. After a few minutes, she pauses. There's something here, she says, pointing to a section of the elephant's belly where the stitching looks slightly different. Using a small knife, she carefully opens a few inches of the seam. Inside, wrapped in plastic, is a small USB drive. Emma gasps. "Mama put that in Mr. Peanut's?" "It looks like it," Officer Rodriguez says, holding up the drive. "This is probably what those men are looking for." My hands clench into fists. What now? Now we see what's on it, and then we decide how to handle tomorrow night. At the police station, the USB drive reveals its secrets on Officer Rodriguez's computer. It's full of photographs, pictures of financial documents, bank statements, and what looks like transaction records. But more importantly, there are photos of the men who have been threatening Emma, along with dates, times, and detailed notes about drug transactions and money laundering operations. Sarah was documenting everything, Officer Rodriguez explains. This looks like she was either building a case against these people or creating insurance to protect herself. And now they want it back, I say. More than that, they need it back. This information could put them away for a very long time. Mrs. Chen, who has been quietly observing, speaks up. "What does this mean for Emma's safety?" "It means we can end this," Officer Rodriguez says, "but it's going to require some careful planning." The plan we develop over the next several hours is risky, but it's the only way to ensure Emma's long-term safety. I will go to the lighthouse tomorrow night as requested, but instead of bringing Emma, I'll bring Officer Thompson and 2 other officers who will be hidden nearby. I'll tell the men that I found what they're looking for, then try to get them to confess to their threats and harassment while the officers record everything. The moment we have enough evidence, we move in and arrest them, Officer Rodriguez explains. With what's on this USB drive plus their threats against a child, we should be able to keep them locked up for a long time. "What if they realize it's a trap?" I ask. "That's the risk," she admits. "But Mr. Henderson, these people aren't going to give up. If we don't stop them now, they'll keep coming after Emma. This might be our only chance to end it." That night, Emma and I stay in a small motel on the outskirts of town. She's exhausted from the day's events but having trouble sleeping in the unfamiliar surroundings. "Grandpa," she says as I tuck her into the narrow motel bed, "are the bad men going to go away tomorrow?" "I hope so, sweetheart. The police and I are going to try very hard to make sure they never bother you again." "What if something happens to you? What if you don't come back?" The question hits me like a punch to the chest. This child has already lost everyone she's ever loved. The thought of her losing me, too, especially so soon after we found each other, is unbearable. "I'm going to come back," I promise her. "The police are going to be there to make sure I'm safe, and you're going to stay here with Mrs. Chen until it's all over." Emma considers this for a moment. Grandma Cynthia used to say that sometimes grown-ups have to do scary things to protect the people they love. She was right. "Are you scared?" I think about lying, about telling her that everything will be fine and that grown-ups don't get scared. But this child has been through too much to deserve anything less than honesty. "Yes," I admit. "I'm scared. But I'm more angry than scared. These men have frightened you and threatened you, and that's not okay. Someone needs to stand up to them." Emma nods solemnly, then surprises me by reaching under her pillow and pulling out a small object. It's a wooden cross on a thin chain, obviously handmade. "Grandma Cynthia made this for me," she says. "She said it would keep me safe. Maybe you should wear it tomorrow." I take the cross, feeling the weight of Emma's trust in my hands. "Are you sure?" "Grandma said love is the strongest protection there is. And I love you, Grandpa, even though I just met you, so the cross should work for you too." I have to swallow hard to keep from crying as I put the chain around my neck. "I love you too, Emma, more than you could possibly know. Will you sing to me? Grandma used to sing when I couldn't sleep." I haven't sung to anyone since James was little, but I find myself humming an old lullaby that my own mother used to sing to me. Emma's eyes grow heavy as I stroke her hair, and eventually her breathing evens out into sleep. I sit beside her bed for a long time, watching her peaceful face and thinking about the life that brought us together. James would have loved her so much. He would have been an amazing father, patient and kind and endlessly creative. In losing him, I thought I had lost my only chance at being a grandfather. But Emma is here now, and she's mine to protect. Tomorrow night, I'm going to make sure she never has to be afraid again. The next evening arrives too quickly. I dress carefully in dark clothes, check my phone to make sure it's fully charged, and review the plan one more time with Officer Rodriguez. "Remember," she says, "your job is to get them talking. We need them to admit to the threats, to harassment, to anything that will help us build a solid case. The USB drive is enough to start an investigation, but their confession will seal it. What if they don't confess? What if they just take the drive and leave? Then we follow them and arrest them anyway, but a confession would make everything much cleaner. Mrs. Chen has promised to stay with Emma at the motel until I return." Emma hugged me tightly before I left, making me promise again that I would come back. "I'll be waiting for you, Grandpa," she said, "and tomorrow we can start making this our real home." Now, as I drive toward the lighthouse in the gathering darkness, I think about that word, home. For 10 years I haven't had a real home, just a place where I slept and ate and tried not to think about James. But Emma has changed everything. She's given me a reason to care about the future again. The lighthouse sits on a rocky point about 5 miles from the beach house. It's been abandoned for years, its light long since replaced by modern navigation equipment. It's the perfect place for a clandestine meeting, isolated with multiple escape routes and far enough from town that no one would accidentally stumble upon us. I park where they instructed and check my watch. 7:55. The officers are already in position, hidden among the rocks and scrub brush that surround the lighthouse. Officer Rodriguez is monitoring everything, from a van parked a quarter-mile away. At exactly 8 o'clock, headlights sweep across the lighthouse as 2 vehicles approach. The same blue pickup truck from yesterday, plus the black sedan that followed us from the grocery store. 4 men get out of the vehicles. I recognize the 2 from yesterday, the bald one and the one in the baseball cap. The other 2 are older, rougher looking with the kind of hard faces that speak of lives spent on the wrong side of the law. The bald one, who seems to be the leader, approaches me with his hands visible but his posture threatening. "Mr. Henderson," he says, "I'm glad you decided to be reasonable." "I just want this to end," I tell him. "I want you to leave my granddaughter alone." "That depends entirely on what you brought us." I pull the USB drive from my pocket, holding it up so they can see it. "This was hidden in her stuffed animal, just like you thought." The leader's eyes gleam with satisfaction. "Smart woman, that Sarah, always thinking ahead." He extends his hand. "Give it here." "First, I want your word that you'll leave Emma alone after this. She's just a little girl. She doesn't know anything about her mother's business." The man laughs. "You're not really in a position to negotiate, old man." "Maybe not," I say, "but I need to know that this ends here." "Fine," he says impatiently. "The kid's no use to us anyway, not once we have what Sarah left behind. Now hand it over." But instead of taking the drive, I keep talking. "What exactly did Sarah do that made you so angry? What was worth threatening a child over?" The man in the baseball cap speaks up before his leader can stop him. "She was supposed to testify, but she ran instead, took our money and our product and disappeared." "Shut up, Rico," the leader snaps. "Why?" Rico continues. "We're just going to take the drive and disappear anyway. What's it matter if he knows?" The leader's face darkens. "Because witnesses are loose ends, you idiot." My blood runs cold as I realize what he's saying. They never intended to let me walk away from this. Even after getting what they want, they still see me as a threat. "The kid, too," the leader continues, advancing toward me. "Can't have her growing up with questions about what happened to Grandpa." That's when I hear the most beautiful sound in the world, Officer Rodriguez's voice cutting through the night air. "Police! Everyone on the ground now!" What happens next unfolds like a perfectly choreographed dance. Lights blaze from multiple directions as officers emerge from their hiding places. The 4 men spin around in confusion, hands reaching for weapons that they never get the chance to draw. The leader tries to run toward the rocky shoreline, but Officer Thompson appears from behind the lighthouse, cutting off his escape route. Rico throws his hands up immediately, shouting that he surrenders, while the other two men freeze like deer in headlights. Within minutes, all four are handcuffed and sitting on the ground while Officer Rodriguez reads them their rights. The entire conversation was recorded, including their admissions about Sarah's testimony, their threats against Emma, and most damning of all, their plan to eliminate both of us as witnesses. "Mr. Henderson," Officer Rodriguez says as the suspects are loaded into police vehicles, "you did exactly what we needed. Between their confessions tonight and the evidence on that USB drive, these men are going away for a very long time." I lean against my car, my legs suddenly shaky as the adrenaline wears off. "Is it really over?" "It's over," she confirms. "Emma is safe." The drive back to the motel feels like the longest trip of my life. Every mile that passes is another mile closer to Emma, another step toward the life we're going to build together. When I finally pull into the motel parking lot, I see Emma's face pressed against the window of our room, watching for me. The moment I walk through the door, she launches herself into my arms just like she did that first day. "Grandpa, you came back. I knew you would, but I was still scared." "I'm here," I tell her, holding her tight. "And the bad men are never going to bother you again." Mrs. Chen smiles at us from the corner of the room. "The custody paperwork has been expedited," she tells me. "Given the circumstances and the clear bond between you two, we should have everything finalized within the week." "What does that mean?" Emma asks. "It means," I say, kneeling down to her level, "that you're officially going to be my granddaughter forever, and I'm officially going to be your grandfather forever." Emma throws her arms around my neck. "I already knew that," she says matter-of-factly. "Grandma Cynthia told me that family isn't just about papers, it's about love." 3 months later, I'm standing in the same spot where I first discovered Emma, but everything has changed. The house no longer looks abandoned and frightening. Fresh paint gleams on the exterior walls, a cheerful yellow that Emma chose because she said it looked like sunshine. The porch has been rebuilt and reinforced, complete with a swing where Emma likes to sit and read in the afternoons. The interior has been transformed too. What once felt like a mausoleum of broken dreams is now truly a home. Emma's artwork hangs on the refrigerator. Her books line shelves that I built myself. The hidden room behind her bookshelf has been converted into a reading nook where she can curl up with Mr. Peanuts and escape into stories. I kept Cynthia's room exactly as she left it, at least for now. Sometimes Emma likes to go in there and look at the pictures of her grandmother. She tells me stories about their time together, about the games they played and the songs Cynthia used to sing. Through Emma's eyes, I'm getting to know a side of my wife that I never saw. The side that found joy again after losing James. "Grandpa, come look." Emma calls from the beach behind the house. She's found something in the sand, probably another interesting shell to add to her collection. I walk out to join her, marveling as I do every day at how natural this all feels. Emma has slipped into my life as easily as if she'd always been there. She calls me every morning when she gets up, chattering about her dreams. She helps me make breakfast, standing on a step stool to reach the counter. She insists on checking the mail every day because she likes to see what arrives. "Look what I found," she says, holding up a piece of sea glass, smooth and green from years of being tumbled by the waves. "That's beautiful," I tell her. "What are you going to do with it?" "I'm going to add it to the memory jar for Grandma Cynthia," she says. "She loved sea glass. She said it was proof that broken things could become beautiful if you gave them enough time." We've started this tradition, collecting special things in a large glass jar that sits on the kitchen windowsill. Shells, interesting rocks, pressed flowers, even ticket stubs from our trips to town. Emma says it's a way to keep Cynthia's memory alive while making new memories of our own. The legal proceedings wrapped up 2 weeks ago. All 4 men pled guilty to various charges, including child endangerment, harassment, and drug trafficking. The leader got 25 years, the others got between 10 and 15 years each. Emma will never have to see them again, never have to be afraid of strange cars in the driveway or unexpected knocks at the door. The custody arrangement is permanent now. Emma Rose Henderson is legally my granddaughter, with all the rights and protections that entails. More importantly, she feels safe and loved and wanted, things that were missing from too much of her young life. "Grandpa, can we work on the garden after lunch?" Emma asks, skipping beside me as we walk back toward the house. The tomatoes are getting really big. We've planted a small vegetable garden in the backyard, something Emma had never experienced before. She's fascinated by the idea that you can put seeds in the ground and food will grow. Every morning she checks on the progress of our tomatoes, peppers, and beans with the dedication of a professional farmer. "Of course," I tell her, "but first, don't we have something special to do today?" Her face lights up as she remembers. "The birthday cake. We're making Uncle James a birthday cake." Today would have been James's 34th birthday. Rather than letting it be a day of sadness, Emma suggested we celebrate it as a happy day, making his favorite chocolate cake and telling stories about him. It's her idea of keeping his memory alive in a positive way. In the kitchen, Emma stands on her stepstool beside me, carefully measuring flour while I read the recipe aloud. She's gotten good at this. Her small hands are surprisingly steady as she pours ingredients into the mixing bowl. "Tell me about when Uncle James was little," she says, just as she does every time we cook together. I tell her about the time James tried to build a fort in the backyard and accidentally locked himself inside it. About how he used to catch fireflies in mason jars, then let them go because he felt sorry for them. About the way he would read the same picture book over and over until he had it memorized. "I wish I could have met him," Emma says wistfully. "I wish you could have too," I tell her. "But you know what? I think you would have liked each other very much. You both have the same kind heart." As we wait for the cake to bake, Emma curls up beside me on the couch with one of her favorite books. She's become an excellent reader, something I suspect she learned from all those quiet hours with Cynthia. She reads aloud to me now, her voice confident and expressive. The afternoon passes peacefully. We tend the garden, Emma chattering about everything and nothing while I tie up tomato plants and pull weeds. We walk down to the lighthouse, no longer a place of danger but just another landmark in our neighborhood. Emma likes to collect shells there, and I like watching her explore fearlessly, knowing that she's truly safe. As evening approaches, we sit on the porch swing to watch the sunset. This has become our daily ritual, this quiet time when Emma tells me about her day and asks questions about everything from why the sky changes colors to whether there are fish that can fly. "Grandpa," she says, settled comfortably against my side, "do you think Grandma Cynthia can see us?" It's a question she asks often, and I've learned to answer it honestly. "I don't know for sure, sweetheart, but I think that if love is strong enough to last forever, then maybe she can." "I think she can," Emma says with certainty. "I think she's happy that we found each other." As the sun disappears behind the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, I think about the journey that brought us here. 6 months ago, I was a man drowning in grief, going through the motions of living without any real purpose. I thought my life was essentially over, that the best parts were behind me. Emma has shown me how wrong I was. At 57, I'm learning to be a father figure again, and it turns out I'm not too old to love with the fierce protectiveness that comes with caring for a child. Emma has given me a reason to wake up in the morning, a reason to make plans for the future, a reason to believe that good things can still happen. "Are you ready for dinner?" I ask, as the first stars begin to appear. "Can we have the birthday cake first?" Emma asks hopefully, "since it's Uncle James's special day?" I think we can bend the rules just this once. Inside, we light a single candle on the chocolate cake and sing happy birthday to someone who isn't here, but somehow feels present anyway. Emma makes a wish and blows out the candle, then cuts us each a generous slice. "What did you wish for?" I ask. She grins at me, chocolate frosting on her cheek, "that we get to be a family forever and ever." "That's a very good wish," I tell her. Later, after Emma is tucked into bed with Mr. Peanuts and a cup of warm milk, I sit alone in the living room, looking through the photo albums that Cynthia left behind. Pictures of Emma as a baby, toddling around this same living room. Images of the two of them building sandcastles and flying kites. Evidence of a relationship full of love and laughter that I never knew existed. I understand now why Cynthia kept this secret. She wasn't trying to hurt me or exclude me. She was trying to protect us both, giving Emma a stable, loving home while giving me time to heal from losing James. She couldn't have known that I would find Emma so soon after her own death, but somehow it worked out exactly as it needed to. The beach house that I came to sell has become our permanent home. I've taken early retirement from my job in the city, using my savings and Cynthia's life insurance to ensure that Emma and I can live comfortably here for as long as we want. The slower pace of life suits us both. Emma is thriving in the local school, making friends and discovering talents I never would have imagined. As I prepare for bed, I stop by Emma's room to check on her one more time. She's fast asleep, one arm around Mr. Peanuts, her face peaceful in the soft glow of her nightlight. The little girl who was once hiding in secret spaces, afraid of every unexpected sound, now sleeps without fear. I think about the future we're building together. Emma wants to learn to fish, so I'm planning to buy a small boat. She's expressed interest in piano lessons, so I'm looking into finding a teacher. She wants to plant flowers next spring that will attract butterflies, so we've been studying gardening books together. These are the kinds of problems I never thought I'd have again. The happy problems of a grandfather planning activities with his granddaughter, worrying about school clothes and birthday parties and whether she's eating enough vegetables. Standing in her doorway, watching her sleep, I silently thank Cynthia for the gift she left me. Not just Emma herself, but the chance to love again, to matter to someone again, to have a future worth looking forward to. Emma stirs slightly and opens her eyes, blinking in the dim light. "Grandpa, is everything okay?" "Everything is perfect, sweetheart. I was just saying good night." "Good night, Grandpa. I love you." "I love you too, Emma. Sweet dreams." As I turn off her light and close her door, I realize that this is what happiness feels like. Not the ecstatic joy of special occasions, but the quiet contentment of knowing that you're exactly where you belong, with exactly the right person, living exactly the life you were meant to live. Tomorrow, Emma and I will wake up together in our home by the sea. We'll make breakfast and check the garden and maybe walk on the beach looking for treasures. We'll read stories and ask questions and make plans for the weekend. It's a simple life, but it's ours. And after everything we've both lost, everything we've both survived, simple feels like a miracle.